there's in a way, for an embodied kind of awakening, if you like, an embodied sort of experience, there's no real way of avoiding that. You go to some teachers, and I think I think that they would talk more about awareness and consciousness, which Emoda does a lot, but also within this kind of work that we're doing, for it to have a real impact in relationships and, you know, which is everything really, then it has to enter into that sacred domain of the heart. It doesn't have to stay there, and we don't have to live a life of broken-hearted sorrow or sadness or grief forever. It's just, if it's there, it wants to come home. If it's there, it wants to be embraced. You don't have to make sense of sadness and say, well, it's because this happened and this happened and this happened, or to extrapolate from the sadness. That means I'm a, you know, this person, or a sad person, or an unhappy person. I'm going to be sad for the rest of my life. But the gamble is that you could be, because you can't make a contract with the heart that wants to release its stuff, if you like. I mean, you won't. But sadness, like grief, like mourning. Somebody came up and, you know, was talking about mourning, as they've realized what they, you know, how much of their life they wasted in arguing or hiding from reality. And so they've got 50, 60 years old, and suddenly they've realized what a waste of time it was. And so there's a period of mourning for that. These deep feelings of sorrow, mourning, grief, they're okay. But they're okay. They're better held when they're coming to the light. Surely. Yeah, hold nothing back. Hold nothing back from yourself. If grace has brought you to a place where something is opening, love that, trust that. And if that means you're going to sit and cry for the next 10,000 years, just honor it. Everything has its time. Everything has to follow through. Everything has to come to the light in its own way, in its own time. But we're so busy mitigating with our courtroom mind, yeah, with mind that says, no, I've worked this out. We're judge, we're prosecutor, we're defendant, yeah, and we say, no, that's the time limit on that is this period of time, and then it's got to be done, and we've got to move on. No. It's, say yes to it. It's like whatever arises, you've got to love that. And if it's sadness and sorrow, which of these are difficult? These are difficult feelings for us. But you know, it's like we have the capacity to say yes to these things also. What happens is that if you allow it without judging it, then it runs its course much faster and much more purely, and it feeds the whole garden. It feeds the whole inner garden. This is why I do love grief and sorrow and joy, because they're all intricately connected to the beauty of us in the world. They're our inner garden, and we've been trained in this life to not feed that inner garden for some strange reason. So we're all very dry, not you lot, but everybody is dry. They live from the mind and live from the judgment and live from the prison of self. But the garden inside the heart and soul is dry. And that's just you know, not it in many ways. So that, you know, the water of sadness, the water of sorrow, the water of joy is a great boon to the inner world, and it starts to feed the garden. And then the flowers start to peek their heads through the thing. Small, it doesn't have to be big. It's not a big thing. It's an intimate thing. This is tenderness, right? We'll so often come back to tenderness in this. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect that I'd spend so much time in this work talking about tenderness. Well, it was absurd to me 10, 15, 20 years ago. Kavi would be talking about tenderness. No way. But it's like the nectar, the water of the teaching of Emoda, who brings the clear light of awareness, But it's not as simple as the clear light of awareness, because that clear light of awareness goes into the human experience. And that's where tenderness happens. And to me, you can't have one without the other. You can, but it just misses something. It misses this humanity. Because we have to talk about what happens when awareness, the clear light of awareness, enters the human experience. And that's what you're asking, and that's what you're talking about. And this is exactly what happens. And this is a beautiful thing and a painful thing. Beauty and the painfulness go hand in hand.